Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another C Squared podcast episode. Since the last time we chatted, Fabi, quite a lot of things have happened in the world of chess. Obviously, you've played some chess. There's been some drama as well. It seems like in the chess world, we can never escape it, and we'll be chatting about that as well. Perhaps one of the first of its kind, as we will see in just a few minutes. That's an episode that we will definitely cover. Title Tuesday, some changes in that one as well. You said that you will not talk about it ever in the future, or your discussion back and forth with Hikaru.
I said I was kind of done with it, but
at least until the Sinquefield Cup is over. But definitely we will cover what happened in relation to Title Tuesday as well. There's a few newcomers in the top 10. One in particular I do want to talk about as well. And at the end of it, I also want to take your Grand Prix predictions, or Grand Swiss, or however you want to call it, Grand Swiss predictions. But
I think it's just called the Grand Swiss.
Grand Swiss.
I don't think we can call it anything else.
Yes, Grand Swiss. Let's keep it at Grand Swiss. But of course, let's start with the Sinquefield Cup. You needed a big result in it to qualify for the top 4, and you got it. You tied for first. Didn't go your way in the tiebreaks. It was Wesley So that won the event, but still you achieved one of the big goals of the event, and that was to qualify to the top 4 in Brazil, the grand finals that is going to happen in about a month from now. So good result, at least from the outside perspective. How do you feel about your performance at the Sinquefield Cup?
It was overall good. When I started the St. Louis series of tournaments, the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz, followed by the Sinquefield Cup, my goal was pretty simple. It was to qualify for the Final Four. I think it was kind of a long shot at that point because I was, it was kind of close, but I was behind many people. I was tied with Levon. Ironically, we both made it. And there were people like Ali Reza, who was clearly in a better position than me. Like, even if I got clear first place in Rapid and Blitz, I think I would basically be tied with Ali Reza. So, because he had played more events than me, but he had so many more points. And players like Prague, who had also probably a better score, and Maxime clearly was ahead of everyone. So it was really like I was trying to get that final spot because I thought probably 3 people will be ahead of me, but maybe I can snag the final 4th spot. So that was my goal. I got second in the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz, which I thought was a good start. It was a bit disappointing because after the Rapid, I was in really good shape to get first. Maybe if I'd beaten Gukesh in the final Rapid game, it would have been the best Rapid result in history of the Grand Chess Tour. But Blitz fell apart, unfortunately. But still, I got second. I mean, when I looked back at the tournament right after, I was like, okay, this is, considering my Blitz performance, this is actually a good result.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I even gained a decent chunk of rating in Rapid. So okay, my Blitz has been this year has been my worst Blitz year in my entire career. I have never played
in your
so
entire
badly.
career, you would say.
This year, in every Blitz event I've played in, I've performed extremely poorly.
What's the cause for that? Have you thought about it? Have you gotten to, let's say, analyze and strategize ways to improve? And if you don't want to answer the question, obviously you don't have to.
I really don't know. I mean, Blitz is also
happening?
it's so finely balanced. It's like you just have to be alert at all times. So it's very easy for things to go wrong. It's just that they usually don't go wrong in every single tournament. It happens sometimes. But after the World Blitz Championship, where in the preliminary stage, I made the top 8. In the preliminary stage, it was very good. I even started 7 out of 7. It was a very good start. After that 7 out of 7, everything has been bad. I mean, I don't know. I need to think about it a bit because Blitz does play an important role in a lot of tournaments, in the Rapid and Blitz tournaments, in the World Blitz Championship, in potential tiebreaks and playoffs. It plays a role. So I'll need to think about it. Rapid has been reasonable, but Blitz, unfortunately, Okay, it's actually only 2 events this year, so it's a very small sample size. But still, that's 36 games. It's like, I've kind of grown accustomed to scoring a plus in every Blitz event over the last few years, and now I don't remember the last time I scored a minus before this year, and now I scored a minus twice in 2 events. So that was very disappointing. But then, okay, Sinquefield Cup, I still thought I'm in a much better situation than before the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz. Sinquefield Cup, anyway, it was clear I should score. I should score better than Ali Reza. I should score better than Levon, although he was 3 points ahead. Or I just do anything better than Prague, and I'm always ahead, or equal to Prague, and if I'm equal or better than Prague, I'm always ahead of him. So the task was kind of like, it was of course unclear, but there were some certain things that I can kind of hope for. Like I just do as well as Prague, which we actually shared first. Before the Blitz playoff with Wesley. I do the same as Wesley, for example, or I do better than Ali Reza, and actually all of those things happened. I shared first with Prague. It was like 2 very important games, and then after I won those 2 games, after the 4th round, then I just slowed down. I kind of knew that I just need to draw the rest of my games, and I stopped taking risks. Basically under any circumstances. Some games I just shut down. Some games I kind of played very safe. But from a point of view of winning the tournament, of course, I should have taken a risk here or there. But I thought the Grand Chess Tour qualification is sort of the number one goal. And looking back, I think it's probably the right decision. It's not like I got any big winning chances after that. I didn't do anything, like I didn't mess up any wins. I just didn't really go for positions where I would get chances, because that would also potentially give my opponent chances. Like I took chances against Noterbeck, you could say. It was very risky. I took chances against Ali Reza. I played a rather marginal opening, you could say as well.
Yep. A very original
that game against Ali Reza
approach. Yeah, with this
knight
c3, knight
sideline
g3.
Yeah, exactly. A very small sideline of the Nimizo with bishop d2, knight f3, b6, bishop d2, which he knew reasonably well. But then in the middle game, he chose a few decisions were suboptimal. F5 to start with. And
generally, I think that was one of your best games of the year. I would say it was a very.
I think it was a good game.
Very well played.
I think it was overall a good game. Yeah. Best played, like in Norway, I actually played a lot of really high quality games. So, like my game against Arjun, my game against Wei, both games against Wei were very high quality. So, there were a few good games in Norway. But yeah, I'm happy with the win. It was a very critical game. It kind of shifted our fortunes, because before that, Ali Reza was +1, and after that, he had a very poor finish to the tournament. I mean, he lost, I think, remaining like 2 games after that. And he finished very poorly, and he missed out. Even after that game, he still would have had reasonable chances to qualify, but the end of the tournament for him was very bad. And at some point, it became clear that it's probably going to be like the top 4 in the Grand Chess Tour will probably be Maxime. Okay, Maxime for sure. I'll probably make it if I don't lose a game. Prague at some point won a game, which meant that he was in, pretty much. And Levon looked like he just has to not lose, and he kind of coasted, like me as well.
Yeah.
And to some extent, like Prague, we just kind of coasted at the end. And Wesley, who had a huge comeback in the final 3 games, it still wasn't enough to qualify, but he did share first place, and then in the Blitz tiebreak, he played clearly the best, and he won the Blitz tiebreak and won the Sinquefield Cup.
Yeah, and it did seem like there were 3 very clear losers in these ones, if you want to look at it from that perspective. Obviously, Gukesh had a pretty bad result, especially for his expectations. Ali Reza, as you just mentioned, lost a bunch of rating points, 12 rating points, did not qualify. Quite a bad result as well. But somewhat of a shocking result was Nodirbeck, who lost like 23 rating points. I think this was perhaps his worst tournament of his career, at least since he breached 2700. But something happened. Something happened in that one. You've had those type of results as well throughout your career. What do you think happened to Nordirbeck?
Yeah, it happens from time to time. I mean, I had in Vikensay this year. You know, it's Vikensay it's a bit longer, so it's you could get even more tilted, but it happens that you just get it like something goes wrong at the start, then you're a bit unconfident. You don't get some luck in critical situations where maybe you could turn your tournament around with a bit of luck, but you just don't get it. So, and then you lose your confidence, you start to play poorly, and things fall apart. It's a bit of a mix of poor form, so you're just not playing very well, and also some circumstantial stuff. Although he actually did get luck in some situations, like against Maxime. He was dead in the water. It was resignable basically, and Maxime didn't win. He also beat Ali Reza in the very next round, I think. So he had like a little bit, but even with a little bit of fortune, his play was just in so many games so poor. But this does happen. I don't think it's really a knock on his career. It's just one of those. I mean, it shouldn't be. Like it's just one of those things where if he plays normally, he can regain the rating within a few months. You know, it can come and go very quickly, and yeah, it's just one of those events you kind of have to forget about. But yeah, it is definitely a sign for him that he should, you know, be a bit introspective about his play and what like some things have definitely gone wrong, which I think I've noticed a pattern. I mean, his tendency, I think, to have very good tournaments and then lose the last game. It's a pattern which has cropped up. Like I can, off the top of my head, name like the Tata Steel tournament 2 years against Jordan in 23, and this year, not the last round, but the penultimate round against Arjun. And the US Chess Masters, he lost to Prague this year, and Prague ended up winning the tournament on tiebreaks, along with three-way tiebreak, which seems to be a trend these days, three-way tie, with Sindarov and Prague and Noterbeck. And he just had to draw with white. So if I could already name like 3-4 occasions when he's lost a critical last round game and not won a tournament, it's one of those things where he should probably fix that sooner rather than later. On the other hand, he's like 20. I mean, he's going to have a career.
Of course.
He's going to have a career for the next 20 years, maybe. So, like, I mean, a career at the very top, maybe for the next 20 years. So, one tournament, I don't read too much into.
Absolutely, and he has such a fighting spirit, and I think he did mention that this is probably his worst. With a smile on his face, by the way, he did say that this is probably his worst tournament of his career. But these things can happen, and occasionally do happen. And whenever they happen, you just need to bounce back. Like you don't have any alternatives. You cannot allow yourself to fall into that tilt mode for too long. And it seems like he has a very positive attitude, and he knows that there's always a next event. But yet again, you don't want to have too many of this type of extremely poor performances, because that just hits your confidence so much.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's bad. Nobody's happy after a tournament like that. But I think from his, like, for me, a positive thing after a poor tournament is that you have other stuff coming up, so you don't have to dwell on it too much. Even when I won the candidates, I had a very poor Vikensay. I mean, -3, I lost like 20-something points. Just as bad as his tournament. But if you see like a goal ahead, you kind of can easily forget that you just played like shit. And for him, it's actually a great time to forget about it, because if he actually looks at like the candidates qualification, he has, I still think, 3 paths, which is more than you'd expect. One is obviously the World Cup. One is obviously the Grand Swiss. That's a path for everyone who plays those tournaments, which is everyone, I guess. But the other path is actually the FIDE circuit.